Hi, everybody. This is Professor Bowen-Moore. This video is orientation into Photoshop. And this Photoshop is our raster-based program. It's going to be where we do photo editing and working with anything that's made of pixels, basically. And you can even create photo illustrations. You can create artwork. There's all kinds of things that Photoshop has the capability of doing these days. The new versions have even started incorporating AI and doing filling in backgrounds and things like that. So there's a lot of capabilities here. Photoshop is also one of the oldest and first programs that Adobe came out with back in the day, in the early days of Adobe. And so it's got its own little quirks amidst the other many programs that Adobe has in the suite these days. So the shortcut keys are going to be slightly different in Photoshop. And there will be a few things that are different in Photoshop, but in general, the navigation of the interface is basically the same. So if I were to start a new document here, you have those capabilities for web and print these days. Let's just say I'm starting a new document here. You don't really have to start a document. I can just drag photos into or to my Photoshop icon, and they will just simply open up, and I can edit those photos as needed or modify them, adjust the resolution, adjust the size, whatever I need for that photo for the platform I'm working with. So you can create work areas or image areas that you can build on, or you can just open photos in Photoshop and work with those photos directly. Your interface is going to look a little different. Let me see if I can open a image here. Let me go to, let me just choose one here. I'll just open the shortcuts. Because I'll be sharing this with everyone eventually anyway. So as you can see, if you've already watched the video on InDesign, you can see that the interface is very similar. Obviously, we have different tools in the toolbar. Some's the same, but this general mechanisms are going to be the same in all Adobe programs. In other words, you're going to see your toolbar on the left here. You're going to see a control panel across the top that has the tools pop up relating to the tool that you're using at the moment. So if I'm using any of the selection tools, those will accommodate those tools. If I'm using a text tool, it'll give me character formatting tools. It's not going to have the vast selection that you have in InDesign, because text in Photoshop is going to be made of pixels. So the only reason we would ever put text into a layout or build with text in Photoshop is if we were only putting it in a digital platform that works with pixels. So it's not going to give you the same exact look to the character formatting tools as you will see in InDesign. But you can select a typeface choice. You can select its font style, obviously the size, and just kind of how it looks, kind of a character description. You have a few, you can center, left align or right align. You can warp the text. You can add color to the text, things like that. So you do have some basic formatting tools there. You also have your window tools over on the right. So the same thing with those. You have your menu options to give you more options for those tools. You have the little bars where you can move them around, just like you can do in the other interfaces. You've got a ruler up here. You can still bring in guides. You have a selection tool. We call it the move tool in Photoshop, but that's our basic selection tool. So some things are different. Some things are very similar. You're also going to see your work tabbed up here. Let's say if you have open similar, or let's see if I can open another. If it'll open for me. Maybe since I've got that deselected, yep. Okay, so when I open another photo here, you can see it's tabbed. So I can switch back to different images if I have multiple images open at once. So they will tab across the top right under your control panel. So you can have multiple images open. And same with InDesign, you can do that if you have multiple documents open or layouts open. If I were adding part of this image into this image, I could have them open at the same time and, drag them over. So it gives you a lot of capabilities in working with photographs, and this is technically a graphic that I've converted to a photograph. So I have both versions that were executed for print, and this one was for digital. This one's to post online. So as you can see, if I zoom in, you can see everything's made out of pixels in this raster-based image here. And then this is the same thing. You can see all the pixels. So a raster-based program. When you hear raster, think of pixels, okay? So thank you for listening, and I look forward to working with you this semester.